Good evening, Facebook family, and thank you so much for joining us for the expansion tour. We are so excited that you would partner with us this evening to have this conversation. We know you could have been anywhere else, so God bless you and thank you. We want to say thank you also every broadcast to our investors for investing with us, and also for every church and ministry that has used the resources of Church of God by Faith Financial Solutions. We are so excited to bring you the expansion tour. We're going to be talking to ministries about expanding in this season, in this time. We want to talk about what it looks like for outreach, for membership, for media relations. We want to talk about financial stewardship and what it looks like to be financially prepared. We also want to make sure that you have the groundwork and know what it looks like with successful ministries and how you can expand and stay in a sustained environment, knowing that you have what you need and you're able to do margin with your ministry or ministry with your margin. So if we could jump right in, we want to welcome this evening. We're so happy to have with us Faith Baby Ministries from Fort Valley, Georgia. We have with us, yes, we are excited about it. We're happy to have Elder Bruce Mackey with us. We also have with us tonight Sister Kaila Mackey, and also we have with us this evening Sister Talisha Moody. We're very excited. He brought his media team with him, and he also brought his administrative assistant. Listen, I know that in each of those roles, you all have a lot to do, so we're glad that he included you tonight. So welcome, welcome, and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Elder Mackey, please, if you could tell us something about yourself, or give us some history and how long you've been with Faith Babies Ministries.
Well, Angela, thank you for including us and as a part of this expansion tour. This journey actually started for me back in the mid '90s. I married a beautiful girl from Clearmont, Florida, and we was in search for a church, and we was passing through Fort Valley on the way to the airport, and we saw Church of God by Faith in Fort Valley. And so with her being a by faith girl, I naturally got drafted in through marriage, and we came to visit at Fort Valley, and really our founder, Elder Dexter Keith Marshall, who founded Faith Babies Ministries. I was guided through his ministry, and I found my way joining Fort Valley, and the rest is kind of history. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2002, and I then in turn answered my call to the ministry a year later. And so I was under the tutelage of then the late Elder Charlie C. Smith, who took over the church after our founder passed away. And I worked with him tirelessly for the next 7-8 years in ministry. And he came to me in 2020, I think it was 2012, and told me it was time. And I said, time for what? And he said, time for me to take over the church. So I've been fortunate to be the senior pastor at our church since 2012, last 14 years. This is year 14 for us, and we're just grateful for the opportunity that God has given us to operate ministry from. So we were at a location on the other side of town, Highway 49, and we moved into our campus back in 2020, right before COVID hit. And so we've only been on campus for the last 6 years, and we're just very grateful for what God has done for us, and we look forward to a promising future here on our campus.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that. So you said since 2010?
Since I've been the pastor since 2012.
2012. And so you have done an extreme amount of progression in the time that you've been there. I know that your campus right now is absolutely beautiful. the amount of growth and all that you have done affecting your community, you and Lady Mackey. Talk to us a little bit, Elder Mackey, about the effects in the community and what you've done, because it's phenomenal. We didn't put pictures up of their campus, but they were on our website and they are on our Facebook page as well. So please talk to us about that, sir.
Well, Angela, I'm gonna be just real transparent with you. The way I look at ministry, and I share it with the Lord that it has to be more than just on Sunday in midweek service. I said, Lord, I can't be the man you've called me to be just by preaching on Sunday and Bible study on Wednesday night. It got to be more. It has to be more. And so with that mindset, God showed me that there is more. I wanted to be able to take what God was sharing in those 66 books, all of its promises, and I wanted to really show how it affect change in an individual and in a group, in a family. I wanted them to have that opportunity to experience that like God has shown me in my life. And we go above and beyond in what I call unreasonable hospitality, and we try to push that out to our community. And we look at ourselves as a community church. I remember Bishop in one of our settings, I can't remember which national meeting it was, but he asked us the question as leaders. He asked us, he said, if your church was not in your community, would they miss you? And that has stuck with me. It was profound when he said it, but it has been really profound to me. And everything we do at Greater Faith Babies is intentional. It's intentional to the point where I want to be so intentional that if we weren't here at 1000 Tulip Drive, would this community miss us? And I ask that question to our congregation, and I ask that question to myself quite often.
I was gonna say, and what is your answer, Elder Mackey?
My answer is yes, they would miss us. Yeah, they would.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can still remember when I put up some of the Facebook posts on our page of what Faith Babies was doing, and it just resonated with me, the amount of impact that you were having in the community, the movie nights, the fitness. It means a lot, because right now this world is in need of so much hope. And to know that you have that in your church family, you have that with people that will support you and love you, even if you're not a member, you're still there as a pillar in the community to make that impact on their lives. And that has resonated with me ever since I met you and Lady Mackey, of what you're doing. And so I commend you all. Absolutely. So you know what? And I think this is a good segue into especially talking about the community. How do you engage your community? Because there are the people that are not in the four walls of the church, the unchurched. And I know media has a lot to do with that. So, and I know that Sister Kaila is over your media. Speak to that a little bit. How are you engaging the community, and how have you seen it impact?
Well, as far as with our media ministry goes, I feel as though our media ministry has opened up a lot of doors for worship, the sermons, important messages that need to get out for ones that aren't in the church, just like you said, to reach people who may not physically be able to come, such as our older partners, as we call them. Sometimes due to unforeseen circumstances, or if weather doesn't permit for us to be within the church, we're able to send out a quick message or make a quick shift or a change and be virtual and be online. As well as within our community, we have noticed that we have a larger audience online rather than in person. And nowadays, a lot of people tend to check out what you have online before they come in person, especially with our younger generation.
Absolutely. And have you heard people in the community? I know being right there in the midst of it all, have you heard people in the community talk about how they have been engaged through the media contact and just your presence? Have you gotten that type of feedback?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Absolutely. I don't know if Pastor Mackey would want to kind of chime in on this part right here.
Well, yeah, we've noticed that our reach is just not in Georgia and just not around Fort Valley area. Our reach has extended throughout the country as well as internationally. My oldest son is stationed. Him and his wife are stationed in Germany, and we've noticed the relationships that he has in even in Germany has spread with us, and people tune in. Some of his friends and families tune in to watch us even from abroad. And my youngest son is in Arizona, and it is led Angela to a movement in Arizona where we even threw this out there for God to show us the way, a possible Faith Babies West. And Bishop has talked about moving ministry across the country, and I told my youngest son, I know you hadn't said that you were a minister or anything like that, but there's a homeless population that he is serving out there in ministry, and him and his wife are just totally engaged in that. And so all of that started by what we did from a media presence. And again, I keep going back to little nuggets that Bishop even talked about before the COVID epidemic. He talked about having multiple doors of your ministry open.
Yes.
And that is what we've tried to do. And, I hear people talk about all the time, Angela, about we need to get people back in the church and back in person, need to cut out all the online stuff. I just don't see Faith Babies doing that. And we embrace our virtual church, and we're going to continue to seek ways to expand that and to make it better. Those that come in person, they're going to come. They're going to come in person, but
Yes.
you don't want to shut that other avenue or that other vessel off, and we don't see ourselves doing that.
That's a huge point when you mentioned about the four doors. And so being able to engage multiple audiences, and you're already engaging West Coast audience, other areas of the United States, and you're seeing the impact of that. Not to mention the fact, I think that because there still are a lot of people that want to be at home watching the services for whatever reason. That part isn't up to us, but that we at least give them something that they can be a part of. And so if they do decide to step into the four walls, that they're coming to Faith Babies. Like after they get off the couch from that Sunday morning when they've decided to stay at home and watch service, if they decide to hit the four walls, they're coming. And so listen, going out west and just building your audience based on the fact that people have been engaged with media ministry, that is amazing. Because out of COVID, I don't think people thought the church was coming back.
Right.
But it has in a mighty way.
Yes.
Yeah,
Angela,
it has in a mighty way.
Angela, can I also say that even Pastor had let's get out in the streets. So we even take services to the community in places like we call it the living room in Fort Valley, where a lot of our older seasoned people, young people just hang out together. So we take church to even housing complexes. So that is something Pastor Mackey has implemented, and we're going to continue to do that every year. And it's usually in the month of June that he decides that that's when we're going out into the streets.
Amen. Well, you know what? So when people see that, so they see you online, they see your presence online, they see you at church on Sundays and the other days you have services, but then you're taking it to them also. And I really do believe that people want to know that you're including them and that you're making them a part of the service, part of the church.
Right.
And so God bless you. Taking it to the street. I think taking it to the streets is what I grew up with, you know, if I tell my age right now. And so I think growing up with that aspect of it, but now this digital media age is creating a whole nother avenue. And I think it just opens it that much more. And so as you stated, Talisha, being able to go to the streets and go into the housing developments and actually have those, as you said, living room conversations, but then you still have that young person that might be headed to work and they want to hear a word, and there they are, they can get jumped right on social media. So Kaila, I'll ask this question for the younger generation. How are you engaging them through social media? I know it's second century, and I'll have to say this too. I know that because we are part of Church of God by Faith and the denomination, these sessions that we have, this is for the body of Christ. We have to edify and uplift. So this is just not for our denomination. We hope that you can take something back to your church, to your ministry that will help. So Kaila, can you speak to how are you doing with the younger generation and how they're receiving it?
So with our younger generation, what we tend to see in our church especially is that age gap from around 17 to about 30, 35 is what's missing in the church. So what we do on the media team is try to put out things that are engaging and eye-catching for the young people to see. Because the way I put it is AI and technology is taking over. Whether we want to believe it or not, it is. So
Yes.
I like
Yeah.
to say we either get with it or we get left. So, and a lot of our young people are on those platforms, Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok. We haven't gotten TikTok yet, but that is something that we do want to try to look into getting. And even small things, how we make little reels, those little few second videos, that's something engaging, quick that people see, because like I said, we have a larger audience online. You may get 400 views on a reel, and you may not even have 400 people in your church, but people are watching what you're doing. And just by doing that, we have to, I like to say, we have to meet the young people where they are. I'm a young person myself. So at the end of the day, if they're not coming to you, you got to go to them. So that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. You know, when you just talked about the reels, now I'm not media savvy, not technologically savvy. I tell you what, I probably tear up somebody's phone if I mess with it for too long. I think that it's just so amazing. When I see the reels, like I'm stopping, I'm looking, I'm paying attention, and listen, I'm not part of Gen X and Gen Y, so I think that if it can catch my attention, it probably is like stopping them in their tracks. So to know that a church is taking that portion into your marketing, into media, to make sure that you're getting that group. And you made a great point, Kaila, 17 to 33. That age group, like, and I say the same thing at our church, like, where are they? How do we get them? And if it means providing something for them that is going to keep their attention and keep them interested, I hope somebody heard that out there in media land. You know, for those of us that are trying to maintain that younger crowd. So that was awesome. The clips, and I know it's so many different things with media that you can do, and some of them I don't even know about, but TikTok. As you stated, I don't even understand TikTok. I don't even think I've ever been on there, except I would have to download it in order to see some of the stuff that they have. But it's just still so engaging the times that I can look at it, right? So thank you for sharing that, Kaila. Thank you. I think that probably leads me to another question. Having the margin to do ministry and to be able to pay for, are some of these media items expensive, or are they at no cost? What are you doing in regards to, any software or purchases? Are these things costly, or are they just part of the app system where you can just download it?
I think
Um,
I'll yield that to my administrative assistant and Kaila. Oh,
yes.
okay. Yeah.
I was gonna say let's I would like Sister Moody to take that on that aspect.
As far as some of the media, of course, thank you. And thank you, Angela and Church of God by Faith, for allowing us to be on tonight. I really do appreciate it. This is my first podcast ever, so I do appreciate it. But yes, for Facebook, of course, it is a free app, so we don't have to have any type of funding behind that. However, we do have manpower. And currently, the manpower that we have is Kaila and maybe Lady Mackey. So, of course, we want to build where we can actually have someone that we can pay to man all of our media, our Instagram, our Facebook, our TikTok, everything that includes the marketing of what we do at GFB Ministries. We would want that. But right now, the app with TikTok is free. I think the only app that we may pay for is our Restream app, or our that is the thing that we stream from for on Sunday mornings. But everything else, we're trying to stay within our financial, be very diligent and be very cautious about how we spend the monies that we have. And we do want to eventually, of course, expand even beyond what we're actually doing.
So the majority of what, other than, like you said, actually paying somebody to operate the things that cost, most of it is probably at no cost as far as the software is concerned.
Exactly.
And so, yes,
And
ma'am.
we are getting ready to start our website. We are actually
Okay.
getting ready to launch the website, where a lot of stuff will be streamed through the website as well. So, of course, that's going to be costly up front and not really that much cost monthly, but that is our next thing, probably within the next couple of months. We'll have our website launch. So we'll even be out there even more, where we can get people to subscribe to our website, our YouTube channel. We're on that as well. And the more people are seeing us, of course, the more impact we're going to have for the kingdom.
Amen. So you know what? So this is going to be like a threefold question, because as you were talking, I just thought of something. So as you are paying for the different services and things that are going to help grow membership, as you start bringing more members in based on the media that is happening, the different demographics that you're grabbing their attention. So I probably would ask this question: How do you see that growing the church? And are you prepared for that influx?
Well, that is something that Pastor Mackey and his spiritual leaders have actually been working on, because we get people, but we need to have the right structure in place. So we have been intentionally creating this structure that allows the ministry to run effectively by supporting Pastor Mack and his vision for GFB Ministries for 2026. And so we have kind of shifted to looking at Pastor Mackey as the CEO. If you think of him as the CEO, and then he has all his program managers under him, his spiritual leaders, and the spiritual leaders then work as the people that on the ministry teams actually go to in order to get things, asking questions, getting things accomplished. And we have these monthly business meetings now. And within those monthly business meetings, the spiritual leaders are given updates. They've given their taskers that need to be accomplished. So everybody knows exactly what and who they need to talk to. Because if we don't have that structure, then we'll just be all over the place. And so Pastor Mackey strategically said, hey, we need to really know exactly how this needs to look, because we will start getting more people in. And people need to know their roles and what their responsibilities are. And then that way we can keep Pastor Mackey and Lady Mackey out of the weeds of stuff. And they can concentrate on the spiritual growth of the church. And we do that, the monthly meetings. And then we have a quarterly meeting with the church body, giving updates and they are able to give their input, any kind of questions at that time. But the goal is to, when we go before the body, we're all on one accord, is one voice. Is that's the whole goal, that everybody knows exactly where we're going. There's Pastor laid out his mission to his leaders. Now everybody knows where we're going for the fiscal year calendar year 2026. We don't have to guess. We already know what we're going to accomplish at the end of the year. And so Pastor has made sure that we are set up that way. And of course, since we're doing business a little different, it takes people, a little time to get into it. So we're giving grace, because that's what we're supposed to do, and giving patience. We are we are very intentional about making sure that Pastor Mackey can do what he needs to do as far as our spiritual growth. And we also communicate solely through the Signal app, which is also another free thing, how we communicate with the church body. Nothing goes on that Signal app but church business. We don't do any of the other stuff that go on. It's only about what's happening within our church ministry. So that is our one singular way. That was something the pastor wanted to have, one way for us all to communicate without us being on text messages, and then we have to add. And he wanted to be clean.
Right.
So he found the Signal app, and that's what we use in order to communicate with each other on a daily or weekly basis. But there's no junk stuff. There's no, how sometimes there's no extra stuff. It's just stuff that you need to know about.
And Angela, to add to what Sister Moody was sharing, one of the things that the Lord spoke to me going into this year was to have an Acts 2 church, going back to the early church in Acts. In order for God to prepare the church then for increase, you had to have the right kind of culture. And so one of the things that I felt like we just was missing, we would have people come, but they wouldn't stay long. It was almost like a revolving door. And so my thing is that I just felt we dedicated the church back in February when Bishop and the entire executive council was here. And it was like God spoke to me in that moment, was like, in order for us to get to where I want you to be, we have to shift the culture of what we're doing. And so our whole aim and our whole goal is to now have the right culture in place. That means the right processes, the right systems. And so our motto this year is we're doing it for the culture. We're not doing it to grow members. We're doing it to set the right culture. And once we set the right culture, in Acts 2, if you remember, Paul said that God added to the church daily when the culture was in place. And so that's what our focus has been all about.
You know what? And just hearing what you just said, it means everything, because as I I stopped saying sister because I was gonna get a name mixed up. So as I started listening to Kaila and I started listening to Talisha and what you just said, Elder Mackey, the culture can shift everything. And so concentrating on what the body of Christ looks like as they enter your doors or whether they leave, is that your culture remains the same and it'll be unchanged. That now I absolutely love that concept, and the fact that it sounds like you have autonomy amongst the people that are working for you. Now, I'm only listening to 2 people that work for you, so I can only imagine what it sounds like for the rest of them, because if they know that they're working for the greater good of the church, and they know that they're maintaining a culture, and the culture, of course, is, love abides here, that we're all about Christ. So I can only imagine what the rest of your staff would say, because you can usually tell when an organization is operating from top-down management. And I say that because I heard what you just said about the Acts 2 church, and now that your staff feel what the goals are that you and Lady Mackey have set in place, and they're making sure that they meet that vision. That's amazing. That's amazing. This is the first time, and I will share this on, and so that everybody knows this in Facebook land. This is the first time that I've ever had a group of people from a church, staff members, on talking about what is happening at the church. And I think that that's imperative, that as Talisha stated, that you take away the burden of all the business aspects from the leaders of the church, because the leaders of the church have to focus on shepherding the sheep. And as they shepherd the sheep, they pick the people. As you said in Acts chapter 2, we have all come together and combined our goods, and we're doing the work of the church. And so for that reason, it takes the responsibility off of you and Lady Mackey and places it on people that can help sustain the vision.
That's right.
I absolutely love that. Listen, I think I'm gonna just grab all three of you and take it and look, mold y'all and put y'all in some more churches. So thank you all for sharing that. So I would like to ask this question, because it sounds like your organizational structure is top down, which is awesome, but it sounds like it's very spread throughout your organization, that everybody understands what is taking place. So your financial structure, how have you been able to sustain with the pandemic, and then coming out of the pandemic, and now we're dealing with other issues, trying to maintain the people that did come back, growing the fold. So how has your financial structure helped you in regards to maintaining or sustaining in this economic time?
Well, that's a great question, Angela. And I want to encourage leaders when I say this. One of the biggest misconceptions that was out there was that Church of God by Faith can't help you. When we was in pursuit of this campus, and I think Financial Solutions was just getting this footing. And I remember Bishop. I remember visiting with Bishop, and he said, "Just give us some time." In the I don't want to say old ways of doing things, a campus like this needed to stay in the hands of the local church in order to provide funding for renovations and things of that nature. But with Financial Solutions, I can truly say I had not a single doubt as to what we were going to do. This is God's house. It belongs to Church of God by Faith, and I thank the Lord for Bishop and the council allowing me to steward and to pastor this church, and that's the way it has always been in my mind to do. And I'm gonna be quite frank and transparent with you, Angela. It was not easy getting everybody on board from a financial standpoint. We went from a 2,500 to 3,000 square foot church, paying about $500-600 in utilities, to a 79,000 square foot, 20-acre campus, paying over $2,000 in utilities. And it was like, okay, your membership at that time hadn't grown. So how are you going to make up that difference? And I tell people, but God, our church was founded on faith, and I had to get the church to trust what God was doing in this season. And so to maintain what we have done, there was a method to the madness. There was a plan. And so part of that plan is that we utilize our campus to generate income. We have, of course, Lady Mackey and I formed our nonprofit, which is based from the founders of Church of God by Faith, Matthews and Scipio. So we call our nonprofit Matthew Scipio Impact Group, because we knew that just being a church entity was not going to allow us the opportunity for resources, financial resources. So we put our resources into a pot to create the nonprofit that allows us to be able to operate, from a financial sector, with grants and applying for grants and other opportunities. People will give to a nonprofit, but they're not going to give to a church because they feel like, well, whether you stop at.
Is it going? Yeah.
If I give to this church, I got to give to this church. Mm-hmm. So we have the nonprofit that allows us to operate ministry from. We also use parts of our campus with incubator businesses. We have businesses on campus or in the community that we lease space to. So they pay us rent, which allows us to be able to offset our utility bill, our internet costs, things that break and tear up on campus. We're able to use those funds to be able to offset any charges that we have out there. And so, and then of course we rent the sanctuary for different events in the community that people have, as well as the cafeteria. We rent it as well. And so with those things, we're able to sustain ourselves. And then of course, with the support of Financial Solutions, of course, they just not going to loan you money and you don't have a plan for it. Just like with anything else, yes, our organization has its own credit union basically, but the thing about it is, just like with you borrow money from a bank, you got to have a plan. And so we presented our plan to Financial Solutions. We were able to make a loan with low interest, and we've been paying that back for the past few years. And so, matter of fact, we redid the loan to help us with other projects that we were doing. And so it has been a great partnership. It has allowed us to enhance our campus even more. And I'm very grateful for what Church of God by Faith has done. And we don't mind in Fort Valley investing in what Financial Solutions offer.
You know what? Thank you for listen. I feel like you plugged us a little bit, Elder Mackey, and I thank you for that, because what makes a large difference, and I think that is very evident in talking to the three of you, that you had a plan in place. You knew what you wanted to do and accomplish, not only for your church but for your community. And with that, you had the sustainability model in place to make sure that when you did ask for or need anything, that you knew that there was going to be a way for it to be replenished or repaid, or that that you had the sustainability to hold that model together for years to come. And so that says everything. And something that you said that I'm going to repeat, that when people come and request resources from us, the idea is that you do have a plan, because what we don't expect is for a ministry to utilize funds and then put a burden on themselves that is going to cause financial strain for them in the church. We're not going to be a part of that. We're not going to allow somebody to be a part of that, because that's not good stewardship, and that's just not good business.
No.
And so we so appreciate you and Lady Mackey and Greater Faith Babies, because it has been, that campus is amazing. Again, I say, because if somebody has not seen it, your campus is amazing. And to know that you had a plan in place, that says a lot. So I'm going to ask a few more questions if it's okay. All right. So with the financial structure of your church and organizationally, would you say that your staff, they're reporting to you, Elder Mackey, or do you have somebody that acts as your assistant? Is that Talisha?
Talisha.
Well, yes, for the most part, it's really two of us that they are reporting to, Sister Maxine Cherry and to myself. So we're trying to make sure that anything that we can head off, anything that we can take care of, and we give like we said, the responsibilities back to those leaders who oversee those particular ministries, that we don't have to hold the hand. Only if they just need something from us, they don't have clarity, and they may, that's when I will take something up to Pastor Mackey, or Sister Cherry would take something to him, and we try to go together. We try to keep it as limited as possible, because they only need to deal with the big stuff. They don't need to deal with the stuff that we can take care of. So we believe in having a solution for him when we come to him and Lady Mackey, not just bring the problem to him. We don't want to treat him like, I don't know if y'all ever read that book, The 1 Minute Manager. The 1 Minute Manager is about people who take things to their manager, and like they leaving everything for the manager to fix, like the monkey. And then you become the monkey trying to go around and fix everything. No, we come to the Pastor Mackey and Lady Mackey with the solution, letting them know this is what's happening. And some things they don't even need to know about. It's just, and they don't need to know about it. We just going to take care of it. It's like, why do they need to know about a toilet? They don't need to know about that. Just fix the toilet. So,
That's awesome, and I hope that some church out there was listening. That let's take the responsibility off of our pastors, to help them and give them the support that they need, not to try to run all the business of the church, and then also to pray for you, and then also to preach on Sunday, then also to come to your house, and then also to look. I could keep going.
Yes.
And so
yes.
I think it's really important. I said this the other day to a pastor that I started naming the different things that he did in his ministry. And I said, I just had to stop. And I was like, I want churches to know that as much as our leaders pray for us, we need to be praying for them just as much, if not more, because of the amount of tasks and responsibilities that you have. And so I just wanted to say that again, because I think it's just something that we need to repeat more often, that we need to give our pastors all of the support that we possibly can.
And I do want to say this, Angela, before you move on. That doesn't mean that the members don't talk to Pastor Mackey. They just don't bring business to him. He's still an open door to them. He's still right there with them, talking to them, but we're not trying to bring all the stuff that he normally used to take care of. We're not putting that on his plate and Lady Mackey plate anymore.
That's so awesome. That is so, like I said, I just hope somebody heard you, Talisha, out there in Facebook land.
Yeah, I hope
that
so.
Look, they can start doing the same for their pastor and their church, So I will ask this, Pastor Mackey, for the vision of your church, a 1-year vision, things that you are planning for right now, something that is on the right here for you. What would that be for the next year for Faith Babies?
Well, like I said, everything that we've done so far is we're trying to again establish a culture to be able to sustain growth, and what that looks like. And I'm gonna be honest and transparent again, Angela, on this. We're very strategic in the programming at our church. We're very strategic in not extending ourselves beyond, as Talisha called it, our bandwidth. We are a church that tries to operate as efficiently as we can within our lane, and I don't like having, and this is going to sound, as a pastor, this might sound very different to some people, but we don't believe in having a lot of church. We believe in having a lot of ministry, and we're very strategic in our programming. We're very strategic in our worship experiences, but I'm really more focused on opportunities for ministry, and what drives that is what is the need of our community, and we're always about the pulse of our community. The pulse shifts. Right now there's a lot of food insecurity in our community. For instance, there were some people that experienced a tornado today, this morning, and they lost everything. And so we got a family or a group of families that's coming to grab some grocery as well as some clothing. Um, and we can provide both of those needs for them. And it's not all about the worship experience, it's about the worship experience. It's you
Yes,
know,
sir.
I
it's
know that.
about
Mhm.
so we spend a lot of our time um, with ministry. So Sundays and midweek services are awesome, and we value that time, but we also value our time on what we do within our community. So yes, that's our goal, is to evolve, like I said, to evolve as that Acts 2 church for this year. And just like Church of God by Faith had its vision for 2020, 2025, we got that same mindset in terms of how we look at vision. That was one of the reasons why we had our um, church dedication at the 5-year mark. We opened in 2020, and so we had the church dedication at the 5-year mark. That was intentional. And so, our next round here for 2030 is to really evolve as that Acts 2 church, and to be strategic in how we move, our strategic in our programs, in our processes.
Awesome. Listen, that's a great vision and plan, especially because it sounds like you're just gonna keep growing on it. It's not that it's going to stop once it's accomplished.
That's
It's
right.
that you'll keep energizing and pushing it forward year after year. That's awesome. The culture of an org. I always think about this in terms of corporate, but that you brought it to the church. That is amazing to look at the culture of your church as not just being this is the worship experience, but the experience is worship. I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you for sharing that, Elder Mackey. I would like to ask if you have any encouraging words for pastors or other leaders that may be listening right now, to be able to expand their territory, to be able to continue to engage and grow their membership. Do you have any words for them?
Well, Angela, the one thing that I would like to encourage pastors and other leaders is to make yourselves as versatile, and make your places of worship as versatile as you can. Um, I know, and I get it. I understand. Everybody don't have the space that we have, but utilize the space that you have as wide as you can get it. If you have pews in your church, you may want to look at going with chairs to be able to arrange seating, be able to use it in multiple ways other than just the church. Look at spaces in your neighborhood, grass, areas of grass that you can do outreach ministry with. And so, because it doesn't always have to be in the four walls of the church. And so we would look for those opportunities. We were looking for them when we was on our other property, on our other campus, because we knew we were limited in the four walls of the church. But don't limit your ministry. I see a lot of people, they give up too quick, and so this isn't. It's not all about getting up preaching. It's about what you can affect your community in a lot of different ways. And so, if I can just encourage you to look at those opportunities around you, around your community, check the pulse of your community, and make yourself as versatile as you possibly can, and invest in. The last thing is invest in your people, invest in your team. There are too many there are too many pastors out there that's trying to do it all by themselves. And let's get away from that. Embrace the people that are there in your church that want to work, that want to be involved. Embrace that and allow them to do what God has called them to do. And you'll watch your ministry grow in ways that you wouldn't imagine that they could. I'm so glad that I can not be here or for go see my kids in another state, and the church runs as if I was there. And so that's the sign for me that we're growing. And when we can do that, and I'm just so proud of my church. I'm so proud of the team. I'm proud to be a product of Church of God by Faith, and so it's awesome. And I'll yield to these other two ladies. Angela, that's my time.
You know what? Thank you so much for sharing those words of encouragement for leaders, Elder Mackey. So also to Kaila and to Talisha, please tell us what encouraging words do you have for the financial administrator, for the media ministry. What encouraging words do you all have? Because it matters. It matters so much. So please, what do you have?
Well, I would say just to everyone who just remember their purpose, remembering that their purpose is to advance the kingdom of God. Don't get caught up in your own stuff. We are there to make sure that God is seen in everything that we do, so people will get saved. That's our purpose. And so as an administrative assistant, also, I would tell this to anybody who's an administrative assistant, is to make sure you're there to remember to support the pastor, but also you're supporting the members as well. It's not like you're trying to keep them apart, but it's a different kind of support. I'm here to get the mission accomplished through Pastor Mackey, but I'm also here to help you understand what the mission is and to grow. And as far as finances, just always know that the money is not about you. It's about moving the ministry ahead, above and beyond. But we do have to be good stewards in making sure that we get accomplished what needs to get accomplished. And just like you said, continue to learn, continue to look at it through different lenses. Make sure that we're constantly healing ourselves. And I know we didn't talk about the things about what we're doing different. Like we have the whole women healthy culture right now. And it's because we know that we need to heal our mental, emotional, physical, finance, everything needs to be healed in order for us to create the right culture. And we get to create the atmosphere we want to create within our churches. We just have to decide what atmosphere is going to be. And since Greater Faith Babies has decided that the atmosphere is going to be God. And so that looks like love. So that's what we're going to do. And so I would just encourage everybody, like Pastor said, go to Acts 2 Church and let's make that happen.
Amen. Thank you, Sister Talisha. And Miss Kaila?
Yes, I'm gonna be real brief, but from a media aspect, I would just encourage churches to be consistent with whatever you do, even if it's just a weekly quote that you want to put out or whatever it is, just be consistent. Who cares if you don't get so many likes, but trust me, people are watching. They are watching. For example, what we do almost every Sunday, there is something that gets put out from whoever the speaker was on that Sunday called sermon notes. And a lot of people, I didn't think that people were, really engaging, but people actually, they comment, they're like, hey, I like this, keep this up, because some people don't make it to church and some people don't make it to even watch online. But if they get those Cliff Note version of what the pastor talked about or whoever the speaker talked about, that's good enough nuggets to keep them pushing throughout the rest of their Sunday and throughout the rest of their week. So just be consistent, be engaging, and that's what I have.
Well, thank you, Kaila and Talisha. That was awesome. Be consistent. Look, I will say this about savings. I try to tell people all the time, like you have to start somewhere, but more importantly, you've got to be consistent. So that applies to so much, Kaila. So thank you for sharing that. Elder Mackey, we're gonna let you close it out because I would like for you to tell the people, please, where you're located. Now, if you're in the Fort Valley area, listen, you may just be in the locale, but we want you to find your way to Greater Faith Babies, join them for service, get online. Listen, whatever you can do, if you need a church family, you want to hear Bible-based teaching, you want to be surrounded by love, we want you to know where Faith Babies is located. So Elder Mackey, please, if you tell us your Facebook, your YouTube, and then your location, so that people can join you if they're in the area.
Yes, if you are in the Fort Valley area, you can join us on campus at 1000. That's 1000 Tulip Drive. We on the other side of the tracks. In Fort Valley, zip code is 31030. You can also find us on Facebook at Faith Babies Ministries, COGBF. Also our YouTube channel, which is Faith Babies, COGBF. And so we're great. We're not the only church, but we feel like we're the best church. And so so if you're in the area, come and join us on Sundays at 10:30, and on Wednesdays we have fellowship where we eat beginning at 6 o'clock. We feed the community, followed by happy hour, our Bible study. We call it happy hour at 7. And come by and join us. And if you know of anybody that's in need of any resources, please reach out to us at 478-827-0410. That's 478-827-0410, or just direct message us on Facebook and route it to Sister Moody or my wife, Lady Catrice Mackey, and we'll be glad to look into getting some resources for you. And so thank you, Angela, for your time. Thank you for this expansion tour. Bishop, Executive Council, we love you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. So he's gonna have to dice the recording up some, so he can actually go in and